Thank you everyone for being here with us and joining us today. As always, we're here every week, Friday Connect, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, live training for real estate agents and team leaders. Please note that next week we'll be in Las Vegas for eXp Con, so eXp Realty's annual conference. So we'll be picking up the training the following week, which you'll all receive information in our email after the call. For today's training, we know that we got started in real estate industry to create lifestyle, to create wealth for us and our family. The only way we all know that to create true wealth and financial freedom is by creating passive income that makes your money work for you, and especially while you sleep, right? That's all passive income is all about, so that you're not putting time invested. It doesn't require your time invested in it. We have real estate investor and entrepreneur Conor Steinbrook with us today to lead the training and to share how he has been able to create multiple streams of income, of passive income, while working in the real estate industry to give him and his family true financial freedom. And he's one of top residential real estate investors in the US, top 50 influencer at eXp Realty, and he is the co-founder of one of the largest and fastest growing organization at eXp Realty, with over 1,500 agents worldwide and counting. And today's actually his birthday, so happiest birthday to you, Conor, and thank you for being here with us. Really honored to have you here with us, spending your birthday. So please, everyone, put your mic on mute, and we'll take all the questions at the end. Conor, please take it away.
I figure I'd just let you keep going. That sounded good. I'm just kidding. Thank you for that nice introduction. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for coming here today. I know your time's valuable, so hopefully I give you something of value today back in return. Now, I guess, Sarmel, do I have until 11:25 or what's my cutoff? Okay. Yeah, so guys, what I'm going to do here real quick, and I've been in business for a long time. Thank you. I see you guys in the chat. I've been in business a long time. I've built a lot of different income streams. I've built a lot that failed. I've built a lot of businesses that didn't make it. I've built a lot of businesses that did. I've built a lot that were doing okay, that had kind of decide whether it worth keep going or shut the business down. So these are all things that are going to happen to you guys as you go throughout your business career. But by building so many different businesses and being in a lot of different industries, I have a really good idea of kind of how everything plays together: time, income, emotion, different scalabilities of different income streams. And I'll kind of go to quickly tell you my story over a few minutes, and I'm going to talk about different income streams throughout it. And then I'll kind of dig into residual income streams in the way that I see it, and relate it to time for you guys in your life. Because I think sometimes I talk to individuals and I'm like, so you understand passive income, right? And they say, yeah, of course. And I'm like, well, how much passive income do you have? They say, well, I don't really have any. So they don't really understand it, right? Because if you truly understood residual income and what it would do for your life and your future, you would literally go fight a grizzly bear right now to go get it, right? Because it's the most important thing in the world when it comes to business and our life, because it gives us both time and money, not just money freedom. It gives us time and money freedom. So kind of what happened to me, guys, is I went off to college in 2003, put $20 in poker aside. I tell the story all the time. And I ran it into a small fortune, and my hobby became my profession. And just accidentally, a technology infused into a brick and mortar business model, similar to how is what's happening at eXp Realty right now. And it changed the industry, and it allowed for big opportunity for the individuals that put a lot of time in at that time to beat the learning curve, right? And get ahead of that early adopter stage market share growth. So what happened was I started playing a lot, and if you do anything a lot through repetition, you're going to get good at it. And I shot straight to the top of the world, and I did that all the way up until April 15th, 2011. Some of you guys may remember what happened is the big online shutdown. The biggest poker sites in the world was shut down by the United States Department of Justice because they were doing illegal things. I'm sure nobody still really knows what was going on. But this is when I learned the hardest lessons of my life. And these were good lessons at the time that wasn't so fun to go through. But write these down, guys. This is how you build wealth, and this is also how you protect yourself and protect your future. So there's 4 things that every single person that has a very severe or a very strong net worth has in common. First one is they always have more than one income stream. They always have multiple streams of income. Now, what does multiple streams of income actually do? We always hear this. You need to understand this is your insurance policy for your own future. If you have one income stream like I did, even though it was a great skill set, I was making a lot of money playing poker, when that income stream disappeared, I had no way of creating an income. So not only should you have multiple streams of income, you should be thinking of how many you can get as far as multiple streams of residual income. Now, I think people should be shooting for a base income stream of 3, or number of income streams is 3, because if you have 3 and you lose 1, you have 2 and you have time to get back to 3 and 4 and 5. But if you have 2 and you lose 1, you're down to 1 income stream, you're back to that same vulnerable position, because time changes and things happen, industry models change, and stuff happens, right? So the second thing is, I said I had to have everything. I couldn't do everything on my own anymore. As a poker player, I was doing everything on my own. Emotionally, when I was stressed out, sick, tired, didn't want to play, or had life constraints, it hurt my income, right? So I understood early on by looking out there in the marketplace, what do wealthy people have? they have duplication through leverage, right? They're leveraging other people's efforts, other people's time, other people's money. They have employees. They run real estate agent teams. They have multiple YouTube videos, multiple oil holes, multiple positions and equity positions in businesses. So they're always looking for duplication outside their own efforts. So this is what a lot of real estate agents seem to struggle with a lot of time, right? Is they want to be that solopreneur and they like to have control, right? And control is good, but control doesn't scale. Control keeps you compressed and keeps you from getting outside your box, right? So a lot of you agents that haven't built your teams yet, you need to start thinking about how to go from a solopreneur to an entrepreneur, because this is what changes your life when you have the ability to leverage outside your own personal efforts. Now, these two income streams next are what I realized early on that every single successful person I knew that was worth probably 8 figures and up had. They all had equity components and multiple equity models in their business, in their portfolio, and they all had residual or passive income models. Now let's talk about equity real quick and passive income here in comparison to how you can actually create income. So there's only 3 ways to create income, guys. You have active income streams, which have a direct time allocation to create the income stream, working a job, selling houses, flipping houses, wholesaling houses, whatever it is. If you stop trading your time after your last deal closes, your income stops completely, right? So this is why people struggle, and this is why people get frustrated and get burned out, is because they usually have one income stream is active only. And so they're basing their entire business and their entire financial future for their family off of that one income stream. It can go up, it can go down. Cyclical patterns of holidays, right? You guys have, think about production this summer as a producing agent as compared to the winter, right? So things can happen. You could get sick. I mean, look at what happened with the pandemic. All sorts of different things can come out. So the main one is what I want to talk about here is time and how time relates to these other 2 income streams with equity and residual income. So let's say you spend a whole year working 50 hours a week and you work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. That's 2,000 hours, right? You made 100 grand. You traded $2,000 or 2,000 hours of time to create $100,000. Now, what if you took that $100,000 and bought a stock and that stock doubled to $100,000 over the next year? How much time did you put in to make that stock go up $100,000? No time, right? Except for buying it and selling it and maybe a little research about it and watching it throughout the year. But that $100,000 is the same net cash or net difference to your net worth, but your time allocation to grow is 2,000 less hours, if that makes sense. So what equity can do is it can compress time for you guys. It allows you guys to leverage your time and expand time. And this is why you have to have equity positions, equity through real estate ownership, not just sales. When you own rental properties, some of you guys may on here have own rental properties or do right now. Y'all probably did pretty well over the past year and a half, right? Because all our properties went up in value. So principal equity appreciation, equity pay down through the tenants paying down the property, right? So equity can expand about your time to grow it. Now, the most important one is now we're going to dig into is residual income stream, because what passive income does, guys, is it gives you your financial freedom. It gives you the ability to have time and money. I know a lot of people that have top producing sales businesses, flipping a bunch of houses, doctors and attorneys, they make 200, 300, 400, 500K a year. But if they can't spend their time or have the time to spend their money, what lifestyle do they actually have, right? So it's always this balancing act back and forth. So they're trading all their time over here to create all this income, but they're always grass is greener. I wish I was traveling the world. I was spending more time with my kids. I was coaching my kids' soccer team, more time up here. And then they step away from this to go with their family. And while they're with their family, they know they need to be back at the office because now they can't trade that time and their income is going down. So it's always a direct fight between the two, where I put my personal life and my business life hours, if that makes sense. So the goal is to get to your basic financial freedom number, guys. So most people, this is going to be double what your actual monthly liabilities to live your life are. So let's say your total bills, mortgage and everything adds up and your food and expenses adds up to $5,000. Some people would consider that financial freedom when you cover that with $5,000 in cash flow residual income. But I think when you double your monthly cash flows, when you actually become financially free, because you're still going to have to pay taxes and then you need to be able to save, right? Because once you have this money saving up, this is what you can reinvest to build more residual income streams. But what I want you guys to understand is until you have financial freedom, most people truly don't even really actually get to know themselves or meet themselves. And it's a weird thing that happens when you finally get to financial freedom and the pressure of having to create income falls off your life. Now, because what happens is the creative thought process of your mind starts pulling up the other goals that you've been neglecting throughout your life, your health goals, your financial, your faith goals, your community goals, your relationship goals, all the things that we always wanted in life are now able to be done because we're not having to worry about creating money all the time, if that makes sense. Because when we're always fearful about our bills and things that are pulling us backwards and expenses that we have, it creates stress, anxiety, and depression. When we're stressed out, things that we do in our normal life don't go as well, right? So what we're trying to do is take the pressure off our life. And as you build residual income, your production business is going to increase. Now, what I started doing, guys, when I was investing, I started out I failed miserably. I went like $100,000 in debt before I started doing deals. So I had to start out doing what's called wholesaling. Now, this is important because you can't always just go to residual income. You have to keep your life going. So you work on your active income to move your life forward. You work on your residual income streams to give you your freedom, if that makes sense. You have to find something, whether it's sales, jobs, whatever you're doing. I was wholesaling at the time to bring in active income. Now I started doing well at it. I started bringing in some money, and so I started flipping houses for bigger checks. Now, the traditional way for real estate agents to, I would say traditional because now I'm at eXp before this, is that you had to do the process through creating a high active income, creating, let's say you make 150K a year, pay your taxes, have your living expenses, and what's left over, this is your weapon. This is your disposable income to take on the world. And the problem is why most people don't become wealthy is they spend this as fast as they can. So let's say you had $35,000 after all your taxes, living expenses at the end of the year. This is what's left over. What are you going to do with this money? Most people spend it on vacations, holidays, cars, clothes, whatever they do. Wealthy people, they take this money and they invest it to control assets that create cash flow and hold equity positions, if that makes sense. So they start buying rental properties, apartment complexes, mobile homes, storage units, and things like this. So one of the most important lessons that I learned early on when I had that poker career disappear was I was a young kid. I was young, naive, and too young to not know that good things don't last forever. I spent all my money as fast as I made it. Think about all these stories about you hear like professional athletes doing this one skill set. They made it to the NFL. 3.5 years later, they're broke, right? So what I didn't realize, guys, was it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you spend that creates wealth. So if you asked you guys, how much money do you need to make? You're going to start thinking of a number in your mind, 100 grand, 200 grand, 500 grand, $1 million a year. But why? Why does that number come up? It doesn't have any relationship to anything in life as far as your net worth being created, except you know it's a lot of money compared to what you think is a lot of money. But the only thing that matters to move forward in life and create wealth is how much money you make, how much money you spend in relationship to each other, if that makes sense. Because if you make $1 million and spend $1 million, you have no money. So if you guys are starting out right now, what you need to do is you need to live way below your means, like as far below your means as possible. Get rid of outside opinions and external judgment of you. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, if you guys can get by eating, like 99-cent rice meals and snack ramen and things like this, I would urge you to do it, because what it's going to do for your life later is going to give you a great life. So the sacrifices we make today give us a better life tomorrow. So what most people struggle to build wealth is they spend too much money early on and they don't invest it. So I'd urge you guys to make sure that when you're making your active income, keep as much as you can to reinvest it. So you never want to spend the principal, you only want to spend the cash flow. So once you take that principal amount left over and you're investing and you start building a rental portfolio, now you got cash flow coming in. This is what you can now use to spend. And once you have cash flow coming in, you can't outspend it because it always comes in month after month, if that makes sense. So what I realized was I need to start building residual income. So I became financial again. I started buying rental properties. This is a great way to not only create wealth through equity ownership, but also cash flow. And what happened to me was I ran out of money and I couldn't keep scaling my business. Then I have to pay that HVAC bill. But if I own or finance a property and that HVAC goes out, I'm not the owner of the property. I'm essentially the bank. So it increased my cash flow working on the on front side, eliminate expenses on the back side, and still allow me to create cash flow, if that makes sense. Now, as I started increasing my money and I started leveraging my time, then I started creating another residual income stream. So rental income, owner financing income, and I started lending money to other investors out of in different ways. Lending money is a very passive way of creating residual income, but now you have to have money to lend, obviously. But if you guys are good at raising money, what a lot of people do is create businesses around it, and they create spreads. Let's say they can raise money at 8%, they can turn around and lend it at 2 and 12 or something like that. So those are probably the three most common residual income streams that you're going to see agents traditionally do in the industry is rentals, owner financing, and passive money lending. Now, there's certain types of brokerages out there, guys. eXp is one of them. Keller Williams is another one. You have Exit. You have lots of different brokerages that understand residual income for agents. Now, the problem is most of these models don't share enough residual income. So when I saw the eXp Realty business model, what I said was, this is incredible. They're giving agents the chance to build a really strong residual income that doesn't take debt to control it and grow it, which we'll talk about here in a second, because there's different levels of residual income, because how are you going to grow it? How are you going to scale it? How are you going to maintain it? Cash, time, emotion, right? We'll talk about this here in a second. But that's what the big attraction was when I saw eXp, was I saw the revenue share model, and I didn't actually believe they were going to pay us this type of money to grow the residual income. And guys, I can assure you, in just a little over 3 years, we built a residual income that's equivalent to owning over 300 rental houses, if you want to make a comparison. I could not have done that through real estate ownership. So now I think the industry has a really big opportunity right now for agents who traditionally didn't have the ability to raise money, or that they didn't want to take a risk to go the traditional route of financial freedom through cash flow, which is rental properties and nodes. They can now come over to a brokerage like eXp, and they can start growing their organization alongside their production business, and they start building wealth through the stock wars and equity. And so they are able to now have 3 income streams, not one, through one brokerage. And if you think about it, all ways of creating income: active through production, equity through stock wars, and residual through rev share. So all 3 of these go hand in hand to create a business that allows you to capitalize on every lead that comes into your office, depending on whether equity position or price point, it doesn't matter now. So that was the attraction I had to eXp. So that's been my biggest residual income stream. So out of over 20 income streams that we've ever built, the residual revenue share model at eXp is by far the fastest growing and the biggest and strongest income stream I've ever built. So if you guys haven't taken a look at it, you should definitely sit down and see what we have to do with what we're doing with rev share model. Now, other income streams that you guys can create that are residual. What a lot of you guys are doing right now is you have cash, you have all sorts of income streams in your business that you're just not aware of. A lot of you guys have paid for courses and coaching systems and all sorts of softwares and website things. Most companies here in 2021, 2022 going forward are moving away from the salary growth model, the old school corporate model that doesn't really work anymore because technology and the elimination of brick and mortar. So what a lot of these companies are doing is they're using affiliate marketing models, network marketing models, profit sharing models, and revenue sharing models. Now, why are these companies giving employees or agents in different industries the ability to build massive residual income streams to grow the company, and not growing and doing it this way than what the traditional way was in the past? So if you look at it, you can sell a car, insurance, houses, widgets. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Let's take what you're selling. It has to have a person sell it, and also you have to have a person grow it, the company, right? So if you have an ABC corporation and they're selling, widgets or whatever it is, right? What do you have to do? What do you need to grow the company? You need a growth arm. You need to start paying people to go out there and start growing the company. But let's say I go to Kyle and I say, hey, Kyle, I want you to come over here and grow my company. You need to attract 25 people to the company a year, but I'll pay you $100,000. And Kyle wows me in an interview. And then I hire Kyle, I go into a contract, and he's not a performer. He's a good interviewer, but he doesn't perform. And this has been a big risk for corporate and big companies for a long time. Because now let's say Kyle goes out there and performs horribly, attracts like 4 people. I have to get rid of Kyle. I have to find someone else. He has to find another place, and it's a giant nightmare. The other thing is companies can't scale quickly if they have a limitation of dollars in the bank account. Just like I talked about with my rental portfolio, you're going to hit a scalability issue at some point because of time or money in any business that you grow. And so when you're growing through a salary-based business model, like so many companies still do and used to do as the primary model, you cap your scalability based off the dollar amount that you can raise or active working capital that you have. So, and then on the agent side, in our case, or an employee side in a company like that, if you have a salary, you limit your future. You can only reach as high as that salary goes, plus some small bonuses that you can work up throughout your career. Most people peak their career and they can't usually get past but a little over 6 figures. Now, why the new world business models, I guess you could say, are taking over the industry is because now let's take that same product, just switch the type of growth model that a company has. Now they're going to let freelance entrepreneurs like ourselves go out there and grow that company, but they're going to pay us through incoming profit sharing models or revenue sharing models or something like this. So now, let's say I go out there, I decide I want to partner with some company, and I go sell whatever it is they're offering me to sell, and then I sell that product. What happens is revenue comes in. I traded my time without being paid directly for my time. I took my own risk of time. I'll explain why I do that here in a second. But I go out there and I sell a product. Revenue comes in. They take the incoming revenue and part of it, and they give it to me. And the rest goes to the company. Or they can do this through profit sharing models as well. So what this means is if you're only paying out the employee and growth force through your company from incoming revenue streams, you have infinite growth possibilities as compared to limitations in growth. So that's the benefit for large companies. Now, for the individual growing the company, they're not going to cap our goals and dreams and our futures, right? We're going to swing for the fences. And, to be able to build, going on a $60,000 a month residual income here in just a few years, and that's just a snapshot time, guys, through the eXp business model. That's how we did it through the revenue sharing system. So I don't have a cap on my income. So these models give high performance people that want to take their business serious, the ability to build an income that they can never have through a traditional salary model. And then the companies take less risk, if that makes sense. So if you guys understand affiliate marketing, go into these courses and systems that you have already. Start using these. Go to your database list. You guys could all probably create an extra $2,000 or $3,000 residual income just with your affiliate marketing business. Think about YouTube. YouTube is a revenue sharing system. Amazon's affiliate marketing business. Walmart's an affiliate marketing business. So the main residual income streams that you should keep in mind, your rentals, your notes, passive money lending. Here at eXp now we have revenue sharing. Other brokerages have different types of residual income models. Then you have affiliate sharing models and then network marketing models. But these are the primary different models and things that people are doing to create recurring income streams. Now, when you're looking at a residual income stream, it's always based off how much money does it take to control that residual income stream or scale it? How much time does it take to control or create that residual income stream and scale it? And then the stress and emotion combined to it, right? For example, it's very capital intensive to scale a rental portfolio, right? Think about, let's say you want to have 10 rental properties. How much money do you need to raise? How much money do you need to borrow? You're going to have front end interest only money, then back end amortizing money to control that property once you finance out. So what you need to start thinking, guys, is in the beginning, if you don't have a lot of money, you need to look for time strategies to grow your residual income streams. This is why I think network marketing is great. Growing teams through brokerage models is great because it's more of a relationship referral network kind of networking business, if that makes sense. But then as you start creating income over here, then you want to start through your active income and through your time strategy residual incomes. Then you start thinking of how to take this income and start controlling more assets through capital intensive residual income models like real estate ownership, apartment complexes, storage units, and things like that. So you can't just start buying and controlling residual income streams that take capital control if you don't have it, if that makes sense. So what you need to think about is, if you started right now, is trade as much time as aggressive as you can in active income models, make as much active income as possible, live below your means, use that disposable income to start getting yourself to controlling assets and residual models like rentals. And then in the meantime, all your extra time after you paid your bills and keep your life going forward should be spent in time allocated residual income models, if that makes sense. But this is just kind of how I see building these businesses and different ways to look at different income streams, guys. I know I'm coming up on the time here, but that's kind of the way I would think about it. Aggressively flood your time into an active income model that you can make big money in, which a lot of you guys are doing through sales. Probably the best way to do it through real estate sales. Do not spend that money, guys. Reinvest that money to live below your means for a few years, guys. It's not going to kill you, and you're going to be glad you did it later. But also pick up something, like our revenue share model here at eXp, some other courses that you can sell through. But figure out something you can do with your time to get that coming up. Because what's going to happen is you get to your first $2,000-3,000 a month. Once you can cover your car payment, your health insurance, and your mortgage payment, this is going to take the pressure off your production business. And you're actually going to see that you become a better sales agent as your residual income keeps growing. And then as you start to make more money, you start to control assets that create cash flow. It's kind of the way that I would tell you guys to look at your business going forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Conor. And does anybody have any questions for Conor before we jump into our second half of the training? And for those of you that popped in late, Conor is a top 50 influencer here at our company, eXp Realty, and he he has one of the largest and the fastest growing organization with 15,000 agents worldwide and counting. And he's built multiple streams of income and became financially free. So if you have any questions in order to create passive residual income fast, he's the person to ask. Awesome. Thank you so much, Conor. Appreciate it. And right now we're going to dive directly into our second half of the training with Kyle Sutton, real estate agent with eXp Realty. Oh, somebody has a question, Conor. So Janet, do you want to unmute and ask away?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Okay, hi Conor, and this is really, really informative, but most of the stuff is going over my head because I'm like a super, super beginner. But what would be your advice for a beginner to get started with a passive income?
Yeah, I mean, you got to find one. We're just talking about with time. I think, obviously I'm biased because of eXp, but I truly believe, even if I wasn't here, the eXp revenue share model is the fastest way someone can start building residual income without taking on debt and without having to build massive skill sets that can just leverage their efforts throughout their business already. And so it's a little bit different type of growing an organization as far as a team. You're not really a production team leader, you're a revenue share organization leader. And at eXp, we have a completely back-end management system that allows us to get out of the time management of traditionally what we would have to run a team, which creates a more residual income model. And then the other one would be just look at if you have courses or things out there, other people have courses, and start building an email list and start building a data contact list and start getting on social media, guys, and building a social media following, and then promote other people's products and services to your attention that you're creating through your social media following. So I would say, like the revenue share model we have here at eXp, some basic affiliate marketing strategies through using social media. these two go hand in hand to be the easiest way to get it off the ground. Because when you're selling someone else's product or service, you didn't have to go create the product or service. Let's say someone created a Facebook course or something like that. All you have to do is sell it. And their benefit is they don't have to pay an employee for us to sell it. Your benefit is you didn't have to spend years getting the information, knowledge, and wisdom to create that course. You have a product that you can go sell right now. So some people make more money marketing other people's products than the people actually creating the products, if that makes sense, because they're just really good at marketing it. So I would look at those two avenues right there. And then also just like, and I'm not any company really, I think network marketing blows my mind that the business maturity in the marketplace is so low, because network marketing is the single most powerful business model that will ever be created in business. And you just get a lot of people looky-loos from our parents' generation that tried these and didn't put but a week in, and then they go tell people, oh, it can't make money in a company like. It's just absolutely unbelievable that there's this much information. I think network marketing in any company is going to give you the best business skill sets without taking the biggest risks. Like when I told my story, I went $100,000 in debt. That was a capital intensive overhead business. You're not starting a restaurant. You're not starting a brick and mortar building that you can actually lose hundreds of thousands of dollars and destroy your life going forward. You're trading your time, but you're getting the same skill sets, and you're building the knowledge, and you're building the wisdom, and you're building, you're getting all these business skill sets without taking the risk that you would traditionally do. So I'd be looking at something and one of those. And then as you start to create income, start thinking about how to start, controlling assets that create cash flow, because that's the main thing that's going to protect you. Because an asset that creates cash flow is not the same as a business that creates cash flow. So even though we built this big residual income at eXp, what happens if 7 years from now, somehow there's a technology that eliminates the real estate agent, right? What happens if tragically something happens and I lose my real estate license? Like all sorts of different things. But once you have asset cash flow, this is the most protected cash flow, because a house isn't going to go anywhere for, and so once you own those assets, it's different than having residual incomes coming from a business, because industry models change, things happen in the future. But when you have cash flow coming off an actual physical, tangible asset, that's the most protected form of cash flow that you can create. But I know it's a long answer, but I'm just trying to give you a way to look throughout from start to finish on how you're going to grow through over the next 5, 7, 10 years to really create wealth.
That's really great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Janet. And thank you, Conor.